And welcome to The Bond. Today we're going to be doing something just a little bit different. We're going to bond with behind-the-scenes filmmaker Raouf Zaki. He has made a production with a working title of Son of the 11th Hour. It's a Christian psychological thriller. It explores sort of moral choices which people make under extreme pressure, and it makes you, as the audience, question what choices you make and the consequences of those decisions. So this is inspired by an event that happened in Libya in 2015. We're going to be meeting some cast and crew as the film is still under production, so I have not yet seen it. And when it's ready, I think you will really like it. We're going to be visiting both behind the camera as well as in front of the camera people, so that you understand why they decided to join this production and bond with the storyline. So let's go ahead and meet our first person.
I can free you, and you join us. But you must pass a little test. Then you will be my soldier.
We came to Libya to feed our families.
If we deny God in front of men, He will deny us in heaven.
We are going home for Christmas.
So Nadim, tell me, it looks like it's busy. You've got lots of people around you.
That's right.
You just had to deal with the leaf blower helicopter.
Yeah, I'm still I'm still coughing up some dust.
Some dust, yeah.
But got it done.
Tell me about some of the ways that you get prepared for this role. We're going to finish up later.
I guess so.
Because it's a busy set. So as you're on the set, tell me exactly the type of character that you're playing.
Okay, it's a good question because it's a very bad character, but it's very important to telling the story.
So it's a necessary villain?
It's a necessary villain because I when I first read the script, I was apprehensive about doing that kind of character.
Yeah.
But then I thought it's an important story that needs to be told, and this character is integral to that story. So,
are you concerned about getting hate mail after this airs?
No, I think the audience is smarter than to hate on the character. We're just telling a story, right?
What type of characters do you normally play, or do you prefer to play?
I mean, more of the same.
Yeah. Do you like being the bad guy?
It's more of a challenge because you need to make the bad guy, humanize him. You don't want to be like a character or a cartoon, right?
So multidimensional.
Yeah, exactly. So you got to, because everyone has a reason for doing things. Like people believe that we're all, one circumstance away from killing someone, God forbid. But that's kind of how you look at it as a bad guy.
So what sort of moral lesson do you want the audience to take away after watching you on screen? Okay, bye.
We'll come back.
I am Raouf Zaki. Today, I reached out to our Coptic and Christian communities with a heartfelt plea to support our film, Son of the 11th Hour. We require an additional $150,000 to fully realize this project. A story that commemorates the 10th anniversary of the ultimate sacrifice made by the 21 martyrs. This film is not just a reflection of their courage, it's a celebration of faith that we want to share across the world. Please join us in honoring their legacy by supporting this film through our website. Every contribution brings us closer to preserving their memory and sharing their profound faith with the world. May God bless you abundantly.
Andrew. He was in the Marines, but little did he know that back in 2015, he was assigned to Operation Inherent Resolve. Now, this operation was a multinational military intervention in order to deal with the issues and combat ISIS. It happened mostly in Iraq and Syria. However, the entire mission was to support the intervention of ISIS, and this included where it might pop up. And in this particular case, there is an instance in Libya. So we wanted to go ahead and have an example of a Christian hostage who was taken from Egypt. These are people who were just looking for work. They were lured into Libya as construction workers and tried to just have an honest day's work so they could send money back to their family in Egypt. However, ISIS leveraged this, and they managed to kidnap them and take them as hostages. Then ISIS used this new platform called social media back in 2015, and they broadcast a rather gruesome video. They did this for shock value. Now, CNN reported on it back then, and we also know that Egypt condemned this video, and they acted with international support. That means that Egypt actually responded when ISIS thought that they would cower. So even though ISIS's intention was to demonstrate their superiority, what happened was they triggered a unified retaliation. And this movie is actually addressing that story. So although Operation Inherent Resolve focused on more events that happened in Iraq and Syria, it covered this situation. So the person that we're going to be meeting today was actually part of that operation. They addressed a threat where they were inspired by the attack on the Twin Towers in New York back in 9/11. The Washington Institute actually had an article about the policy of the analysis of how Egypt responded. And they identified that Egypt shared a coalition, and so Egypt was covered underneath the United States-led coalition against ISIS. This means the actions of Egypt actually addressed what happened to those captured Egyptians in Libya. Andrew actually also represents what a lot of military veterans have gone through. He was inspired to become a Marine, but now as a former Marine, he needed to transition from a military life to a civilian life. And what he wanted to do was try his hand as a production assistant. So when he saw the opportunity to actually join the making of a film that would address something that was so close to his own personal life and his experience as a Marine, he definitely jumped at the chance. Right now, he is an on-set weapons master, which will help create both safe and realistic scenes involving weapons, as this film uses a different version of the story of actual events. He also might have a couple of parts on camera because his exposure to Operation Inherent Resolve actually gives him a unique perspective, which translates on camera, on set. Now, you'll notice he's wearing a t-shirt, and on that t-shirt it says, "Never Forget." That's an ode to his, the event that triggered his desire to enter the Marines in the first place. You'll also notice that he has a flag on one of his sleeves, which is backwards. The reason for that is it's supposed to represent a flag on a pole being ridden into battle. It's a flag in reverse. This signifies that the wearer of that flag is charging into battle unaware, unafraid, and moving forward, ready to greet a challenge and not even retreating. This flag appears to symbolize that. It is different than a flag being upside down. So a flag upside down actually resembles something in distress. But the flag that Andrew has on his shirt indicates someone who is ready to charge into battle, accept the challenge in a patriotic manner. So with that, let's go ahead and meet Andrew. We are here with Andrew, and he might have an interesting story to tell, so I'm going to find out some more. Andrew, how did you learn about this particular story, and what connection does the story have to you?
Right. So I actually learned about it online. It's a site called Mandy. I was just throwing out resumes, trying to get work. I'm starting out in the industry as a production assistant. So I found this. I recently converted, became a Christian. I was raised, but kind of fell away within the last year. Thanks to Christian media, I saw this was a faith-based film. So I sent a resume, hoping, and then got an email back saying, would you be interested? And I was like, oh, I should go read what this is actually about.
Right.
Found out what the story was, and turns out I actually deployed in the Marine Corps a few months after this happened in real life.
Really? So tell me, how was the culture when you deployed out there? Did anybody know about the story? Or?
Yes. Yeah, we actually had to watch the video of them, going through what they went through.
The whole process.
The whole process for briefings, just to know what we were getting with. It was Operation Inherent Resolve, which was against ISIS towards the end of Obama's term and then the beginning of Trump's first term. And so it was the height of ISIS. Everybody was, worried about that threat, and it was a big concern. And then they were promoting, they really wanted to use social media. So that's why they pulled this whole stunt and filmed it. And so we wanted to stop that, and
so their whole concept was to exploit this platform of social media by taking some innocent people, some construction workers, and making an example of them.
Right.
And do you think that was tied to some sort of a power grab, or?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was really taking advantage of, this new culture that was all on social media and really getting people. There's a lot of examples of Americans that converted and went over and fought for ISIS.
Because of social media?
Yep. Yeah, because the presence, and just convince people I'm actually playing as one of the background characters, one of those Americans, as well as my other duties on the film.
Oh, so you're on camera also. Oh, that'll be a fun surprise. Yeah. That'll be great.
Yep. So they brought me on as weapons master and then threw me in a scene with guns and yep, the whole deal.
Fantastic. So would you want to do movies like this in the future?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So I've been trying to get into filmmaking for years, and I'm finally starting, and I want to be a director. And like I said, I recently converted. So if you asked me 2 years ago, faith-based films wouldn't have even been in my mind, but absolutely.
What was your impression of faith-based films before you converted, before you took this particular project?
One word: cheesy. There's an awakening. Yeah, for sure.
Everybody has to go through a standard thing, and then it's a very predictable type of plot. But even though you know the story, do you think that this is a predictable plot?
I don't know about predictable. It's got some interesting ways that we're following our main character through this.
Okay.
It's not.
You don't have to reveal too much.
Exactly. Yeah. It's some fun stuff that I think isn't just the standard cheesy. Have faith and everything will be okay.
Mm-hmm. And tell me a little bit about the shirt that you're wearing. I see it's Never Forget from 20 years ago, 2001 to 2021. Okay, so tell me a little bit about that.
That's right. So 9/11 for me was a big reason why I joined. I was in second grade when it happened.
And you kept that all those years until you were old enough to enlist?
Absolutely. From that moment, I decided I want to be a Marine.
Really?
I think I happened to see ads at the same time, and it all kind of coalesced. And it's interesting, guys, whenever I was getting out, were born after 9/11 happened. So it wasn't a reason for them to join. So we were kind of the last group. But it's definitely something that the culture that I grew up in the military, it was all on our minds all the time, and something that we thought about, the threats that are out there and the people we have to protect.
The Americans.
That's right.
So you enlisted and you gave your entire career over to the Marines, basically, to protect people like me. Thank you. So thank you for your service. And that was just a little peek from Andrew, who is a production assistant here on set in a very exciting psychological thriller Christian film.
Next, let's meet Shadi. He's a cosmetic doctor who injects Botox by day and steps in as the bad guy actor by night. So in Hollywood, about half of all professionals juggle creative passion projects along with their full-time career, just like Shadi. And he demonstrates that you don't have to choose one calling just to follow another. So this set was hot, dusty, very busy. It was hard to grab a member of the cast or crew, so we were very lucky that I could get him for just a brief minute or two before the dust was kicked up by a helicopter landing. So let's go ahead and meet Shadi.
Shadi, tell me, how is it that you've gone from being a doctor who injects Botox in people's wrinkles to being a bad guy on set here?
Well, I'm just acting as a bad guy. I hope I'm not a bad guy in reality.
So you're really fabulous.
But I still work in my medical career. It's just I had a passion for acting. It was like a dream for me, especially in Hollywood. So I kind of pursue it as much as I can beside my main careers. So that's why I'm here. But I'm still working in my main career. I'm never gonna leave it, like my medical career.
So does anybody in your medical office know that you're here on set?
And it sounds crazy sometimes, but it's like what I love to do, you know. I still have a lot of the time, like trying to, you know, get. I have some connections, and also I trying to get roles in the movie industry, but that is only on the side for me. I always have prioritized my medical career and my main careers, you know.
So when you go to continuing education and conferences, you don't tell people you're an actor?
No, not necessarily unless they know about it, but I don't bring it up unless it's necessary.
Looks like the helicopter's landing, so I'll let you go.
Now let's meet Omieta. He's playing the man from Ghana. Now he's a Nigerian-born actor guided by Christian faith. He's portraying a man wrestling with his moral compromise. And his message to the audience is that God's path for you might seem a little obscure, but God's will guide you to your ultimate destination. So both the character and the real actor actually demonstrate this sort of perspective, that God will meet you where you are. You see, it's a challenge focusing on the different choices that each of us have. It forces us to make decisions. So the real life Omieta believes that God will guide him step by step through struggles of faith and finally embrace that God is reliable, that God is real, and that we need to trust in God's timing. So when I'm talking to the actor, I saw that it's more than just following whoever is in charge and claims some messages from God. In the movie, the villain offers a way out, but the character that Omieta plays has to use discernment to see if choosing the right thing, if the consequences of those is worth the price that he might need to pay. So let's see if the decision really is from God or not. You see, Omieta, the person, believes that we cannot judge the progression of faith in others. We can only judge our own heart. So if you do not feel that you can trust God because of a terrible event, that's okay. You may progress slowly, and you may be angry at events or feel that life is unfair. You see, God meets us all where we are. Psalm 34:18 says that God is close to the brokenhearted, and Romans 5:8 actually says God demonstrates his own love for us while we are still sinners, Christ died for us. So let's go ahead and meet Omieta, the man from Ghana.
Omieta, it seems like you're in the middle of a really busy scene. Can you tell me a little bit about what type of character you play and why this scene is important?
The character I play is a character who is torn between being a decent human being and saving his own life. And I feel like that is a conundrum that everybody goes through. You know, it's like you could go out of your way to help other people, or you could preserve your own life, you know. And my character is one that like battles throughout the conundrum throughout the entire movie. And this scene is important because the character that we're about to meet, the other character we're about to meet, he's, let's just say, a very powerful part of
The story. Okay.
And
Well, let's leave that to be a bit of a surprise.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your name. It means what?
My real name, Omieta, it means the will of God or God's will.
And so how do you think that God's will brought you to be the character in this particular movie? This is a very difficult subject to handle. So what thoughts do you have on that? Do you think God led you here?
I like to think every step I've taken in my life has been due to God's, special providence, glory and everything, because there's nothing that I've done without God. I was born and raised Christian, and I had like a little battle with my faith for a time, but as I've grown older, it's become something I've depended on a lot more. So everything that happens to me in my life, I kind of just chuck it up to God's will.
So when you said you had a battle with your faith, what was it that made you decide that God was real for you?
Well, the older you get, and you're not living or depending on your parents as much, you kind of go through life a lot more, you deal with a lot of situations. And I feel like when I finally decided to just give it to God, let it be in God's hand, things started turning around, and I was like, well, I have no other choice but to believe that it's God's will, so that's kind of what led me there. And it's also nice to have something to believe in, it's like we're on a rock flying in the middle of nowhere in space, what
rock from the sun.
Yes, like what is that? That's just such a miracle on its own. So I just feel like having I just feel like having that to lean on, it's a good way to live life.
So do you have any message that you'd like the audience to get from your character when they see it on the big screen?
I wouldn't say that.
What do you want them to walk away with?
Especially because it took me a period of time to finally come into my own faith, which is something I think is similar with this character.
Right.
I feel like
there's a lot of parallels.
Exactly. I feel like no one should feel guilty for not being all the way there. Like everyone has a different journey to get to that relationship with God, and those people trying to bring people into the religion shouldn't judge people or persecute people for not having arrived at that point yet. So like this character, you're probably gonna hate him for a lot of it, but I feel like eventually he does what is right in terms of his faith, and I think it's a beautiful end of the story at the end of the day.
So I see that we're getting ready to call people on set. There's people pointing and having prop guns. They are prop guns. And the lesson that we have learned from Omieta is that God's will can be for you. Your path may be circuitous. It may be not direct point A to B, but you will eventually get to your destination. Is that right?
That's perfectly said.
Good day. I am Raouf Zaki. I am here at Christ the Good Shepherd American Coptic Church in Long Beach, California. Today, I reach out to our Coptic and Christian communities with a heartfelt plea to support our film, Son of the 11th Hour. We require an additional $150,000 to fully realize this project, a story that commemorates the 10th anniversary of the ultimate sacrifice made by the 21 martyrs. This film is not just a reflection of their courage, it's a celebration of faith that we want to share across the world. Please join us in honoring their legacy by supporting this film through our website. Every contribution brings us closer to preserving their memory and sharing their profound faith with the world. May God bless you abundantly.
Karim is the loving product of a French Christian and an Arab Moroccan Muslim. And when he grew up, he actually fell in love with a Korean. He was drawn to help with this movie because of the message of peace and harmony. Karim himself embodies the need for harmony, and he urges us all to reject extremism and foster tolerance because these are skills that he honed on the school playground when he was a child. If it does not harm you, make an effort to understand why the other person holds that belief, because his goal is to make others feel comfortable, and maybe that should be our goal too. He champions education and empathy and peace as a tool to negotiate life's hardest battles, even on a busy set when the director actually interrupted our interview because he needed to get ready for the next scene. You see, every minute was used and there was lots of things happening at the same time. So let's go ahead and meet Karim.
And we are here with Karim to find out a little bit about behind the scenes. So tell me what drew you to this project.
So basically, I've been contacted by Raouf, our director, I think a month and a half ago, and he sent me the script, and I totally recognized myself into the script because I come from different backgrounds. My mom is a Christian French. My dad is a Muslim Moroccan. I grew up in Morocco. I spent like a few years in France too, so I know kind of both cultures. And for me, it was always very important that we all respect each other. It's something that I grew up with. I grew up with Jewish friends, Christian friends, Muslim friends. I never had any problems in my youth, and I think nowadays it's becoming a little bit more complicated to live all together. And so if I have a message to send, that would be the message.
So your message is peace all around. Everybody can sort of coexist and collaborate. So what is...
It has been proven.
But what is the message that you want the audience to get with this film?
I think the principal message is that I think all kind of extremisms are not acceptable, basically. That's exactly what I think. I think that we have extremists in all religions, on all kind of ideologies, and it's condemnable, for each religion,
So if you wanted to broker peace between two factions that did not like each other, how would you start approaching negotiations?
That's a very difficult question. I'm not a politician, but
well, you are a bit of a politician on set here. You have to get everybody together.
That's true. There's a little bit of diplomacy. I really believe that it comes from education. I know for a fact that when I was a kid, I was in a school where we were all together, and I think it starts from that. And when you don't have a chance to know how the other is living or has, his own traditions, and we just have to be accepting of others. And for me, the rule number one is that you can accept everything as long as it doesn't harm you. So, I think it's, before condemning people, I think we have to work a lot on education and try to from a very, very young age, try to make everybody feel comfortable with others.
And obviously, you have experience with both cultures, both opposing cultures. They got along well enough to have you. So there's hope.
It's funny because I'm from have a European and African background, but I also married a Korean woman, and it's very funny because my mom, when I wanted to marry the Korean woman, was the first one to tell me Korean, it's a very different culture. It's not gonna work. And I was like, Mom, you're French and you married an Arab. What are you talking about? So I think everything is possible. And it starts from, I think it's all about education, teaching our kids to be tolerant and accept each other.
And that's the message, is anything is possible, especially on set.
Indeed.
Before you're about to take tally of all the weapons.
We're in the middle of the scene now. We're about to clear all the weapons. We have a scene where the leader of ISIS is coming in, so I guess you guys will grab some footage.
Okay, we'll be right back. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's going to be the wrap for episode 1 of 2. So stay with us, because next time we're actually going to meet Zaki. Raouf Zaki is the mastermind behind this entire production. You will definitely want to catch that interview, because he has a very interesting insight that you won't want to miss. So until we bond again, and tune in next time to part 2.